it's working on the car day to day, and sorry, gonna make my mask all black. So I'm about to go jack it up, and I want to take a look at the suspension and see kind of where that's at. The car rocks a little bit, so I'm thinking that maybe I have some coilovers that are probably bad now. One thing with this car is the jack point. So putting my jack under here was somewhat of a challenge just because my jack is a low profile jack, so I couldn't reach that. Trying to reach the frame there, and it doesn't really have any points back in the back. So, but I've been able to do this, and then here is where my jack stand's gonna go right on the frame. There's a small gap between the muffler and this bracket here that holds the rocker panel. I believe that's what these things are called on these cars. I don't believe that they're called side skirts, but so that's currently where it's going to hold this car up. Real quickly while I'm under here, there's some oil on this drain bolt here, so something seems to be leaking there. Then if I go down a little bit further, there seems to be some oil residue down here, and right here by the drive line, also the puddle there. Well, not really puddle, but just the little stains. So it seems like there's an oil leak from this gasket here, the axle gasket. Yeah, and this is wet with oil. I don't know how well you can see there, but there's also an oil drip right there. So basically this whole casing seems to be dripping oil, and this has to be preset. That there's a nut that goes into the axle from here. So behind this U-joint, there's a nut there, and that nut needs to be preloaded or preset. And I think it's like 15 inch-pounds or 15 foot-pounds. I can't remember which one. However, if you don't do that right, it messes up the crush bushing that's inside here. And so I think what I'm going to do is, I don't really want to kind of mess with that, so I might just take out the entire axle. I'll remove the axles out, take out this whole casing and the pinion and everything in here, and I'll just take it to a shop and have them preload it and change the gaskets in here, and the bushings in here. That will take care of that. This little bolt here, that's not a big deal. It probably just needs a little bit of silicone, and that should take care of the leak that's coming from wherever on that. But it'll be something for a different time. For now, my assumption was correct, and this shock is full of oil. So it seems like this shock is bad, and I'm going to have to replace these. However, it is in a, let me see if I can get a better picture. So it is in like a coilover setup. And so I have to do a couple of things to figure out what size this is. One, I have to figure out what type of coilovers these are, and if I can just replace the shock itself without having, because the spring is fine. However, actually, these springs look like 9K springs, and I might want to go up to 12K. They seem to be too light. I don't know. It's gonna make the ride a little bit stiffer because it is a straight axle, but I don't know if I should just get the entire coilover. So some researching that I have to do, but first things first, these are all measured in length, and so I have to remove this one to see if it's how long it is when the full shock is extended, and that way I can know like what size this takes. Also, I should probably check the front as well, and since I'm already going to be doing the back, I might as well just replace the front ones while I'm at it, and that way I can also figure out what size they are. Something really cool is that there's this bracket here, And so it can be either raised or lowered, and that will lower or raise the suspension. However, I think it's at its lowest setting, but it would be cool if I could put this one down here and drop it another inch. It kind of has that stink bug setup right now, and I don't know that I'm not really into that type of stance. So it would be cool to lower the back just a little bit more. It's pretty tight in here, and it seems like the original builder of this kind of put that in a difficult situation or difficult spot to kind of reach. I'm able to grab it with a regular wrench, but I can't get a socket in there. And then on the other side, let's see if I can get over there. Back, I don't know if I can get back there, but anyway, that nut on the other side there luckily is not spinning. I think there's pressure from the shock, so it's keeping everything tight and it's not letting that bolt spin. One thing to note is that when you want to check these, because when you release this bolt and the bolt up there, if there's pressure on this could shoot out at you. Here I do believe that it's going to stay in place because of how the setup is, where this is mounted to the axle here, and so this will kind of keep it in place, and also there's no tension on it. That's usually why I prefer coilovers in general, outside of their better performing suspension components, but I don't have to worry about this having crazy tension and releasing something immaturely and having it just ruin my life. Okay, so I've moved my jack right under this, because this is not the right size socket. I thought it was an 18. That's the other thing. I've been struggling with sockets all day and like tools and everything like that, because I only have metric, and I guess this car has a lot of standard size bolts everywhere, so that's been a difficult challenge there. But yeah, I put the jack right here so that when I release this bolt, because I'm having to unscrew it, there still seems to be some pressure here. I don't know how much. This is loose, it wouldn't spin so freely if it was under stress. So I think this shock just has a little more to go, and so I don't know how much it has. So just to be cautious, I put jack. All right, I finally got the back one out. It says Chris Alston's. Yeah, it looks like Chris Alston's Chassis Works is what the name of this shock is. Who knows what that is? Who knows how old this is, and who knows if that company's still around? But as far as the shock itself, I measured from the very top to here, to the very bottom of the shock, and I got 18 inches. That's what this image is here. So the outside lines are 18 inches. Then I measure from the point where the shock actually starts to where it would end, and I got 14 inches. So I don't know what that means, so I have to do some research on this, but that's what I got on the back. So I took that rear shock out of the coil, as you guys saw, and I went and tried to match it up just at like my local store to see if I could get a part number that would somewhat fit. Nothing locally is going to work. The shocks that I found are all a little either too long when they're even as they're compressed, they're just too long. They or the round part of them would not fit inside the coil. Well, the coil brackets. So I had no choice but to try to research and see if I could find that company that made the suspension setup that's on there. Alston's Chassis Works, Chris Alston's Chassis Works. And you'll probably start seeing the video here soon of the website. I was able to find the shock that I believe was used. And so, but I want to make sure I talk to their techs and confirm that is the right shock before I place an order for them. They don't seem to be very expensive, so I'm just going to replace those with that. The next thing is, when I was going to check the front seems to be fine. The front coilovers are from a different brand. Let me get under there and then I can kind of show you. So these are the front coilovers that are on this, and they seem to be brand, but you know, they're clean. There's nothing on them. So I'm pretty okay with these. Also, when I shake the car and bounce the car, most of the roll comes from the rear. So I'm fairly confident that these still have some life in them. I will eventually change them, but not for right now. I think I'm okay with them. And they seem to be brand Aldon. They just have Aldon on them. So I'm sure I can find them as well. When I was back here though, the inner tie rod seems to be shot. So for now, today is Saturday, and unfortunately the Alston's Chassis Works is closed. So what I'm thinking for now, I'm going to just kind of take a breather on this video. Monday, I'll order the parts for the rear and then I'll swap them out. But also, probably soon on the next video, before I take apart that inner tie rod, I need to get a measurement of what the alignment of this car currently is, because I don't know what it's supposed to be. So if I can at least get the alignment measurements, even if this tire is off, at least I'll know what the other one's supposed to be close to. And then I can do the alignment to somewhat be close and match. Also, I can kind of determine whether it's toe out or toe in. So that's going to be the next thing before I tear apart the front suspension. And so with that being said, thanks for watching, and we'll just catch you on the next one.